Hello and welcome back to Digimon World 3 Randomized Part 10. We've entered double digits. We're in the Dum Dum Factory tracking down Numemon. It just, when you say it out loud, it's just, you start to question, I'm like, what am I doing with my life right now? We're in the Dum Dum Factory tracking down Numemon. Oh yeah, of course we are, dude. Yeah, why wouldn't we be? Sure. To remind you, at the end of the last part, or during the last part, I was telling you some vacation stories when I went away to Vermont to go to a wedding. A little bit more about Vermont. Ooh, Digimon. A little bit more to give you some context. We were talking about how I had to take a very small aircraft to get to a very small airport to get to where we need to go. So one of the main concerns was that even though the airport got us, or the small airport got us closer to the wedding venue and our hotel and everything like that, it got us a little closer, but it didn't quite get us there. So we, on the way in, we were lucky enough to have the bride's mother take us to take us from the airport to the hotel or the lodge we stayed at. Okay, it's that room over there. She was very nice. I enjoyed it. She was a good conversationalist. Great time. No complaints. The airport was like 20 miles away from the venue, but it was all like kind of straight roads. Like it was all like roads that were like, I don't know, 50 or 60 Shiratori Maru. Okay, that were like for the most part pretty easy to get to by road, so it wasn't like a big deal. It was just that, again, we didn't have any cars, so we had to figure this out. But we both are the kind of people to think ahead. So, like, we knew Mushimon's sword. That's not how you spell his name. But also, I don't want to talk about Mushimon right now. But yeah, we both realized that we need to make sure we have a plan to get back to the airport. Because we flew in on Friday, so July 4th itself. And we were flying out July 6th, which was a Sunday. We were going to fly out on Sunday morning. So we did not have a ride. I don't think the bride's mother was available, or we didn't want to inconvenience her. Either reason is good enough. I'm going to do the recover crest, I think. I actually do have a fair amount of stuff that I could equip, so there's no reason that all of my Digimon shouldn't have accessories equipped. Brother, I don't know what to do with you. I just feel like I can never find anything that like I can equip to you. I don't know what you use. I think you use like fist stuff, but I haven't found anything. So we you can't take both of those, right? No. Okay. So we were trying to figure this out. So because it was in the middle of nowhere, you couldn't just like take a lift or take like an Uber somewhere. Like that's not, let's say that's not allowed. It's not that it's not allowed. It's just like there's no one to pick up the call, if that makes sense. So in the airport, we like asked, we were like, hey, do you have any like recommendations for like how to get to and from? Is there like a taxi service or something? I'm like, oh yeah, here's a list. And they gave us there was a printed list hanging on the wall that had, I think, about 10 different services listed on it. But what captured me immediately, and raptured me even, like what I saw and just made me like immediately drew my eye, was that it was all stuff like Doug's like taxi service, stuff like that. But right at the top of the list, and it would like have like their phone number and everything like that. Right at the top of the list had a name, just a name. And it was just like, I'm not gonna use their real name just in case, just in case, just covering my bases here. But like, it was basically like right at the top of the list, it just said Caleb, and then it just gave a phone number. And then next to that flyer was another small like printed note. Like the flyer basically just had like 2 clip arts of like taxi cabs on them, or maybe clip art is already plural. Basically just 2 like images of like, you know, a cartoon taxi and like a list of numbers and like their like their names, their service, and everything like that. And then it just said Caleb right at the top with the number. And then immediately next to this, like literally there was like tape attaching it to the other flyer, was another thing that said for rideshare, call Caleb, and then it gave the number again. So Caleb is listed twice, which is like, god damn, Caleb must have some pull here. Okay, I found you. I'm not letting you get away this time. I forget how many times you have to do this. I think it's like 4. I think this is another dead end. We still need to get to the control room, then we gotta fight Andromon. I got a mock guard. Okay. So like immediately I'm like, yo, Caleb must. Either Caleb is like a former employee or of the airport, or like has some connection, because it's crazy to me that like they just have him listed there by himself. But like we kept it in our minds. So we had another recommendation for a service that was we had another recommendation for a service from the bride, because one of the other people who was flying in took them. So we like had a couple options. So we're like, okay, let's get to the hotel, and we'll see if they have like, you know, like business cards or stuff there for like who they recommend, and we'll like, you know, we'll cross-reference all the data. We'll cross-reference the bride's recommendation. We'll cross-list the list on the wall. We'll cross-list reference with Kenneth. We'll cross-reference with the you know, with everything, just all the information together. Like, and then we'll form like an educated opinion. It was also like we flew in on the 4th of July, so we're like, we're not going to call to set up like a thing today, because like no one's probably going to answer. Was our belief. So we're like, why bother? But we were starting to keep it in our minds. We did get to the hotel, and then they gave us a new business card, and it was like it was like they had like an ad in color, like in the newspaper, and the business card was like they photocopied the ad like onto like piece of paper and then cut it out and like glued it to like like business card paper, and it was in black and white instead of color as well, which is another fun aspect of it. Like you could tell it was clearly a color image at some point. So like we got there, and then my partner immediately, like, so the front desk like gave us that card, and then my partner was like immediately like, oh, but this says they don't work on Sundays. Like, is that going to be a problem? And there was like a young girl working the reception that like gave us the card. She was like, oh, I'm not sure. And then there was like an older woman that like heard us say that, and then like was like, oh, trust me, just check with them anyway. They don't get a lot of business. Like, they could probably use it. And I was like, okay, sure. So I guess we'll get to more of that later. I want to try and tell these stories in chronological order, like the order that like new information was introduced, because they kind of weave in between each other. So I want to just try and give you like the full movie experience, like as it's like going. So we get to the lodge, and it's honestly the hotel room itself, it's kind of like whatever, but the property was on a huge fucking lake. Like we were in the woods, because I think Vermont is like 99% woods, but the property itself was like on this big ass lake that was like I don't know how big it was, but it was big enough where like there was a whole industry of like just like all around the entire circumference of the lake, or the radius, or no, the perimeter of the lake. There was just shit everywhere, like different buildings, stuff like that, and you could like see tons of boats out on it. There was plenty of people there. People were swimming and stuff. Like, it was very busy. I don't think this is. I think this is probably fine to say. I just typically get a little squeamish about saying places that I've been. But if you're curious, it was I think it's called Bomoseen Lake in Vermont. So you can look into it that way if you like wanted to get a look for yourself. I say this because I truly do recommend where we stayed, because the lake was beautiful. It was a little buggy, like a lot buggy actually, maybe, but like, again, you're in the forest, like what do you expect? But it was very beautiful, and the lodge we stayed on literally was like a two floor, maybe like 12 total rooms, so like 6 a floor thing, and it overlooked the lake. So we were on the 2nd floor, and our balcony led right out over the lake, and that shit was fucking awesome. Like, that was really, really cool. It was very scenic. I really, really enjoyed it. And it, like, I don't really like love the nature at this point. Like, I was a Boy Scout for like 6 years until I got into high school, and I camped a lot. I would camp like once every like 1 or 2 months. So like, it's not like I have a problem with camping or anything like that, but like, you know, I don't know if you got this from the Everything About Me, but I tend to like to stay indoors. Wait, amateur tamer, wait. The danger is great beyond this point. Go back. Okay, I can't talk to you yet. I don't remember. You have to see Numemon a couple times. I just don't remember how many times. Like, maybe you just can, like, kind of go right to the end here? I'm not sure. So the lake was beautiful. I get a lot of really good shots of it at sunset. Get a lot of really good, he's here! Alright, everyone stop everything. I have to steal from this Digimon. Who had Pick and Claw again? Oh, perfect. Okay. Well, this normal switch. I gotta steal from this Tuskmon. But yeah, we so very, very beautiful resort, or not, I wouldn't really call it resort. I think lodge is the correct name for it. But like, they owned like a bunch of the property, so like there was a couple like different buildings, a couple different places you could like access the lake from. They had a restaurant there as well. So our first day, Vmon recovers HP even when he's not in battle? Oh shit, the recovery crest is cracked. That's crazy. I didn't know that. I gotta go fucking kill some more Datamon. That's like a crazy ability. That solves my my healing problem too. But yeah, so we like, you know, we went on the balcony, we watched the lake and stuff like that. It was a good time. We started to get hungry, so we decided to go over to the restaurant that was on the premises, and we got there, I would say, at like maybe like 5:45 is when we went to the restaurant, and we ordered at like 5:50, and our food got there at about 7:20, and this was after neither of us had really eaten because we were in transit for most of the day. So we were getting a little hangry. It was the kind of experience where like you watch other people come in after you, get their food, and leave before you get your food. I don't know what the holdup was. I ordered a burger, and my partner ordered a quesadilla. I don't know what the fucking trouble was. They didn't have that many items in the menu, so like, I don't know. I guess, so the kind of the big thing, I guess I do know the answer, is what I should say, is that the lodge is like a really popular destination, and the lake in general are really popular destinations for weddings. Hence the wedding we were just going to. Like, you know, there's a reason. It makes sense. But I think I'm gonna put Agumon back out front if I'm trying to hunt Tuskmon, because he also has Grismon. It's annoying because I have to change his active Digimon. But which I think I kept meaning to do and then never did. No, I did. Okay. I could have loaded Pick and Claw. I should have loaded when I was back in the town. That's on me. I guess it uses less MP this way. But anyway, so it's a big destination for weddings. I think what we realize now is that the restaurant was like, had a reception for a wedding that had happened earlier that day, like up on like the 3rd floor, and then had more reserves people eating there on the 2nd floor, and then walk-ins were like on the 1st floor and in the patio outside. So there were a lot of people. So I can kind of understand how stuff can get like lost or something like that, but it doesn't stop it from being like actively annoying. Like, nobody likes to just sit there and not get their food. It's not a great time. Food got there eventually. It was fine. It wasn't worth the price or the wait, but I did feel bad because our waitress was like really like, I'm so sorry, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, she didn't say this, but like this was the vibe. She's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I don't know what the kind of shit they're trying to fucking pull. I'm so fucking sorry about those fucking cunts. It's like they didn't say that, but that was the vibe. So that was a little annoying. And then we met some of the other wedding guests, and I guess this is the part where I should mention that. So the way my partner knew the bride, which was her connection to the wedding, was they're both in the teaching field, in the education field, and had met over like Twitter, Twitter is what we used to call the website X. It used to be called that, just in case you're not familiar. And so there were a couple other Twitter friends as well. We were basically like the Twitter friend table. I was there as a +1. I did not know anyone there other than my partner, who I love deeply and who I was happy to spend the time with on a lake. And it was important to her, so I was happy to show up. But so we met one of the other people who's going to be sitting at our table. She was great. Her story that I think is great, and I'm not going to tell the whole thing because that's her story to tell, but she was saying that she got some followers on Twitter because she had kind of a messy divorce with a guy, and then I don't know if it was like through the divorce, right before the divorce, or during the divorce, or right after the divorce, discovered she was a lesbian. And we love that for her. That's fantastic. Like I do wish she had like told me this story like a couple days earlier during Pride for like to make it like on brand, but like it's fine. The timing doesn't always match up. I understand that. I don't know what to talk about. But she was great, and she told us that she was the one who ended up getting a ride. She went the train route, but she came from like a different place. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But she took like the ride place that she took the ride place that the bride had recommended, and apparently it was not good. The guy had been like hitting on her the whole time, and she was like, "Brother, you're barking up the wrong tree here." It's just like, and I'm like, that's so fucking funny. And I'm also just like, we talked about it for a second, but I want to take a sec to really make sure I get it, just in case this affects anyone in my audience. I don't think it does. I believe better of you guys, but I do want to just quickly say, what are you doing? Like, you are driving at someone. You're driving someone. It's the same energy as like hitting on people who are like at a cash register and like a retail job. What the fuck are you doing? Like, they're trapped. Like, they have to be there with you. So like, you can't shoot your shot there. That's so uncomfortable. Like, don't be like, oh, if you want to like hang out, I got this grill or something. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? No. If they're like, you can maybe like, if you're going to do this, and I don't think you should do this, just to make sure that I'm absolutely clarifying, but like logically, if you think like maybe you're making a connection where it's like, wow, this person's kind of cool. It's like, and it's like, if there is something here, maybe we should try and see what that is. If you're like that, and you could completely misjudge that, so you should be very aware that this can go wrong. Also, I think Bikemon might have replaced Andromon, or I think Machine Dramon can spawn in here, but I think Machine Dramon doesn't spawn until endgame. If you think something like that happened, wait till the ride is over, wait until they're out of your car, and then just kind of be like, hey, if you're in the area and if you're looking for someone to hang out and you want to do something like this, it was cool riding with you. My name is this. You want my number, you can have it. If not, totally fine. You need to be ready to like for them to be like, please don't talk to me if you're gonna shoot your shot. I still don't think you should do that. You should not do that. Do not like hit on like service workers or like anyone doing like, or do not hit on people who like were trapped. Like, that's fucked up, dude. Don't do that. It's bad. Like, again, if you're like, maybe if you're like, the vibes are good, you could be aware that maybe you're misreading it, and like proceed very cautiously, give lots of outs, and do not pursue it. If they're like, no, I don't think so, don't be like, well, what if I told you? No is an answer. You got it. Move on. Anyway, so we were like, okay, we won't use them then. So we've crossed off the bride's recommendation for a ride share. Caleb stocks looking pretty good, and so we did that. We got to watch fireworks go off on the lake, which I thought was pretty cool because for those who were who followed me during the Digimon World Next Door to Randomized playthrough, that was also when I went to a wedding on the 4th of July, except last year it was I went to a wedding in New York, and I was I was a groomsman because it was my best friend Carlos's wedding. So I went to New York and we got to see fireworks in New York from like a penthouse suite of a hotel, and that shit was pretty cool because you could see fireworks everywhere. They were like dotting the skyline, and they were like in multiple different places. There was some like being officially put on. There's a bunch of people who just like bought their own and were putting them on. There were a bunch of smaller ones. It was great. It's a very cool experience to like look over a city skyline and just see like literally like dozens of fireworks going off at once. That shit is cool. However, seeing them dotted around the lake also was a very cool experience. I think the one thing I think they should have done instead, and I kind of wish they had, but nobody did, they should have gotten like a barge or something in the middle of the lake and like fired them off in the middle of the lake instead of like on the edges. Because I feel like if you fired it over the water, A, everyone would be able to see them, and B, that shit would look rad as fuck. There was someone who was so most of them were like kind of far away, but then after some of the other fireworks started, someone close to us, like geographically, like location wise, had the good sense to someone who had like some really good fireworks, like some high quality ones, had the good sense to like aim them over the lake, so they were like a little bit over like the shoreline, and it just so happened to be close to where our hotel room was, and I was like, that shit was cool. I got some really good photos of that too. I know nobody wants to see photos of fireworks. I think a photo of a firework over a lake, like at the crest of its explosion, pretty close to it, is pretty cool. I also am part of the camp of like, nobody wants to see your videos or pictures of fireworks. For the most part. I think in like most, like 99% of situations that's probably true. I don't think a lot of people get to see fireworks over a lake. I'm just saying that. Okay. But it was so that was a good time. And I enjoyed that. So next day, this would be the 5th, is wedding day. So the first thing we do is we get there's a little bit of like a continental breakfast, but it was really just like dry cereal and like coffee and orange juice, which I'm like, another like tangent here. I feel like we together as a society, where the fuck is Tuskmon? Actually, I was finding him fairly regular, or I found him twice, and now this motherfucker won't appear. We as a society need to stop using continental breakfast as a catch-all because it's like, if you tell me somewhere has a continental breakfast, that tells me nothing. Like, I don't know what the fuck that means. Does that mean you've got like, you got pancakes, you got waffles, you got eggs, you got cereal, you have like sausage, bacon, you have like different coffees, you have different this and that. It doesn't mean anything. It just means we offer some vague form of breakfast that you're not going to know what it is until you go to see it. And it sucks. I think we need more descriptors. Sorry, I got really parched talking about my strong opinions on continental breakfast. But it was so it wasn't great. But before we left for the building, I was like, we're gonna be in the middle of the forest. I don't know what our options are. I know I certainly can't DoorDash anything. Let me buy a couple snacks just in case. So I bought like a bag of Cheez-Its at the airport, and I bought like a bag of animal crackers. So like I just munched on those for breakfast. My partner went and got a little bit got like a bowl of cereal, and it's like, it's fine. But because of that, we were pretty ready to have lunch. So we ordered from the same restaurant because we were hoping that maybe if we ordered right after they opened, it would be a little easier, and it was. Apparently one of the big things with Vermont is they're big on maple syrup, which I'm kind of like, that's not your thing. That's you can't claim maple syrup. That's Canada's thing. They have that. That's theirs for time memorial. Like, you don't get to just like, you can't claim maple syrup. That's crazy. But they so they had a lot of maple syrup themed dishes. One of them was you could either get wings or boneless tenders, but they were spicy maple boneless tenders. I was like, all right, I fuck with all forms of tenders and various sauces. Spicy maple seems fun. Let me try it out. And it was fine, right? Like, it was. I've had better wings. I've had worse. It was perfectly fine. Like, as a quote unquote local delicacy, I was like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's like my standards aren't super high for it. So I was like, sure, whatever. I'm trying to farm a counter crest, by the way, in case you're wondering why I keep trying to find Tuskmon all of a sudden. Because the counter crest is the most broken item in the game, and Tuskmon drops it when he fucking feels like it. I'm worried I'm killing it too fast, so I don't want to do that. So Numemon would be the answer to this, because he doesn't hit as hard, but I need him to heal. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the recovery crest off Vmon, since he's mostly fully healed anyway. I think that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to give you metal power. Why not? Embrace the metal. Embrace the metal. So we get lunch. That's fine. I think, I'm trying to remember what happened. I know what happened. So my partner went out onto the lake to do some paddleboarding for a little bit. So I had maybe like an hour, 2 hours to kill. So I was just, I re-downloaded Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links recently, so I was playing Duel Links. And I like turned on the TV just to have some background noise. Some clarification on TV. I only watch normal cable TV in hotels because everywhere else I go has better options. Like, they have streaming services or they have YouTube. I mostly watch YouTube. So I was like, all right, let's figure this out. So I turned the TV on, and it's on True TV. For those who don't know, True TV was the rebrand to a network that used to be called Court TV, and it was called Court TV because they would largely show, I think, like different like judge things, like Judge Judy and things like that, or they would show like, I think they would do like cop procedural shows. I'm not entirely sure, to be completely honest. I don't really remember what Court TV mostly showed. Oh my god, I can't be like about to die like this. I don't know if the Recover Crest is doing its job. I guess maybe I could just have it in the backgrounds and just let Agumon do the thieving again. It's going so slow. And part of me is like, I should just like do this off screen, but I'm not gonna do that. Like, I'm not gonna like grind in this game. Like, you want Digimon World 3? This is Digimon World 3. Enjoy it, savor it. Nah, we'll move on. I'll come back in this area later, I guess. I don't know if I want to grind, or maybe I'll do it like on screen later. But I don't even know if this is like enough to like get Numemon. So I should finish exploring the area first. Okay, so I can't go through there. I have to discover Numemon in like another place, and I don't know where it is yet. So we're gonna be wandering around the Dum Dum Factory anyway. Yeah. Now I know why it's called Dum Dum Factory, because you're a fucking idiot if you just like wander around this area like aimlessly hoping to find Numemon. Because it's stupid. I don't remember the order. I'm gonna have to look it up, because like, again, I don't want to ring this bell again so soon. It's a little stupid. It's a little dumb that this is the gameplay mechanic. Like, with quest progression, I am of the mind that if your player is already getting to the end of the quest, like they're finding the destination before the game shows them, just skip parts of it. Like, if the goal is to follow Numemon into the sewer grate, and I discover the entrance to the sewer, why the fuck do I have to like continue to follow this asshole around? Like, why can't I found where he's going? Like, why do I have to do this like cat and mouse shit with him? It's dumb. It's stupid. I don't hear. It's like one of these. No, I think you do that later. I think that's like the last step. Nope, not over there. Nope. I think you literally have to like scour every inch of this stupid factory. So I don't normally watch TV, but I watch it in hotels, and I'm perplexed by cable TV every time I watch it at this point, because it's almost like a fascination. I'm like, what are they doing over there? What are they up to? How are normal people watching TVs these days? And to be honest, I don't even think normal people watch cable anymore. But yeah, so it was on True TV, and it was showing, I don't know if it was America's Funniest Home Videos, but it was an America's Funniest Home Videos like show, kind of like a Souls like, where they were showing clips on the internet, and then they would like cut to some comedians, and I use comedians in the strongest quotation marks possible. All right, here he is this time. There he is. Okay. And it was, when I say comedians, I mean people I've never heard of who are making snarky comments about the videos that, like, I don't want to, like, blow up the spot, but I'm saying snarky comments that I would say a toddler could make. It's just, like, the most basic shit. So the one video I saw them commenting on before I turned it off was, there was a video, the video has to be, like, years old at this point. It was about, they like gave the background on it. So to credit to this show, like they did research on where the video came from, whereas I just see it online and I go, so they're already doing more work than I am. But it was, you've probably seen it. It's a video of the dude in like a fireproof suit, lighting something on fire during like a demonstration. Oh, I didn't want to attack. No. And he like accidentally lights himself on fire, and he still has like a can of like gasoline in his hand. So like as he's like trying to put himself out, he's accidentally spraying the gasoline, the flaming gasoline on other people. And like it's a whole mess. It's, again, the video has to be like 10 years old at this point. Like I've seen it so many times and so long ago. And they're commenting on it, and then they cut to a comedian who like says like, yeah, typically you don't want people to catch on fire if you're doing a fire demonstration. And I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then they would play it again. They would cut to a different comedian, and they would play it again. I'm like, this shit is so ass. Like, I'm very rarely just like stun locked into being like, this is bad. But that's exactly what happened, where I was just like, I don't think this is for me. So I just like immediately went to change the channels, looked at the TV guide to see what was playing. If you want to know what's playing on cable TV, the answer is not a lot. It turns out it feels like they don't really they're not really playing that much anymore. So I finally found Comedy Central. Numemon's pretty fast, and Comedy Central, I think someone told me this is what they do now, and it's funny because I hadn't really seen it in person. So this was a Saturday morning, and they were playing, I want to say conservatively 3 to 4 hours of Parks and Recreation in a row. And I'm like, I remember when TV would have like marathons. I remember when I remember when TV would have marathons. I remember when TV was like more varied and stuff like that. It's got to be pretty dire out in the cable streets at this point, like, because I can't believe they're just doing like, somebody told me that it's all they do now. Like for years they would just play reruns of The Office, and now they just play reruns of Parks and Rec. I just think that's funny. But so I was like, all right. I mean, I like Parks and Rec enough. Sure, I've watched this through the series. I think all the way through, like maybe like once or twice. I haven't watched it in like maybe like 10 years at this point, but I did watch it a fair amount of times. I think season 1 of Parks and Rec is like laughably bad, like really, really bad. And I think it's usually fine after that, but it's definitely like, and I feel this way about The Office as well, a little overdone at this point. I think it's been memed to fucking death because, it's a millennial show. It's just part of the process at this point. But they in the one episode I watched, it was an episode where April is in the hospital with like the flu, and like the flu is going around. Leslie has the flu, wants to keep working because her quirk is that she likes to work a lot and she really loves her job. And it's like, oh, cool. And then, okay, so he's not there yet. Is now when I go talk to Andromon? I don't remember. But it was that episode, and in that episode, they have the quote from Ron, where he's like, you know, I don't really like getting close to people. You know, I'm more of a. I once didn't talk to a guy for like 3 years. And he was my best friend. We still never talk sometimes. Like male friendships. Close off your feelings. Good, real low hanging fruit kind of shit. So I saw that quote literally like a minute into turning it on, and then I saw maybe like 5 minutes later I saw the Leslie, I put your symptoms into the computer and it said you have network connectivity problems, which is a very good joke, but I've seen it a lot. I finally got a counter, Chris. Let's go. Only 2 more. I think 1 is enough for me. I think I'll try and get another one here, but if we only get 1, it's fine. I've accomplished my goal. I gotta stop leveling Grismon. So it was just a couple. I realized the show's been memed so much. It was like 4 different things I heard that like I'd seen taken out of context and stuff, or like in short. I'm just like, you gotta relax. But the fun thing about watching it on cable was that every like couple minutes, the video feed would just kind of like glitch out for a second. So it'd be like they would just be talking, and then it would go like It's just like it would stall for a second, and I was like, oh cool, man. I can't believe cable isn't more popular at this point. That's so crazy. I mean, what's holding people up? What's not to love? I was enjoying poking fun at it, but one thing that really got me was during the first commercial break. You've got some fairly normal commercials. I don't think I saw anything about like stuff coming up on Comedy Central. Like they weren't like, hey, be sure to tune in for this. It was just sort of like just for various like restaurants and stuff like that. Then at 10:30 in the morning, and I know because I immediately looked at my watch when I saw this, they had an ad for off-brand Viagra at 10:30 in the morning. And I thought that was a bit much. And the reason I thought it was a bit much is that you must be thinking, oh, Nick, you know, what's one like 15-second Viagra commercial in the middle of like a bunch of commercial breaks? No, dear viewer. There was the Viagra commercial. Every other commercial was like 15 to 30 seconds. The Viagra commercial was 1 minute and 30 seconds wrong. Or wrong is right. But it was 1 minute and 30 seconds long. And it was weird because it was just complaining. Like, it was like, they were like, you know, if you wanted to get, you know, Viagra at like CVS or Walgreens, and they name dropped them, they were like, it would cost this much. If you order this product from us, it'll cost like, instead of like $40 a tablet, it'll cost like $8 a tablet. And I was like, who the fuck is this for? It was just like, who needs an off-brand Viagra commercial at 10:30 in the fucking morning? What does that say about my generation? I grew up watching Comedy Central, and you're telling me that the people who like watch Comedy Central, like their main, like they're the prime target for Viagra commercials now, dude? How old am I? Like, what the fuck, man? So that was a little bit funny, unrelated to my trip, but it did happen on the trip, so I guess it counts. Where the fuck did Numemon go? This shit is miserable. Where is he? Alright, let's see. Let me check my notes real quick. Let's see. TV hotels, watch TV, it was America's Funniest Home Videos on True TV, and shit was so ass. I did say shit was so ass. Comedy Central literally parks and recs for hours, saw an ad for generic Viagra at 10:30 in the morning. The ad was like 90 seconds long. Was seated at the Twitter friends table. Oh yeah, we can talk about this. So the wedding was, or the ceremony for the wedding was at, I think 2. It was at 2 p.m. Now, I explained in the last video, I was like, don't invite me to your weddings. And the reason for that is how do I say this? I'm kind of casual. in a lot of what I do. I grew up in a strange environment. We'll put it that way. So where, without like familial love, I guess. No. So like, I grew up not wealthy. I think most people would call it poor. And with a family that wasn't really a traditional family. Like, my mom didn't make dinner. So like starting from the age of like 12. So I just sort of like either had to learn how to like order it myself, like order pizza at the time. Well, I can fight you. I don't know why I tried to run away. Or I would have to like cook myself, or I wasn't going to eat. And I think like the second I got a job is when it started. I got a job like right out of school, like at 14. Not out of school. I was in school at 14. All of that to say, like, we didn't really go to a lot of like events. We didn't really go to like weddings. We didn't go to, well, mostly because whenever my parents were invited to a wedding, or my mother was invited to a wedding, it was weddings that were like no kids. And I gotta be honest with you, as a kid, I was like, that's fucked up. I guess it would have been more of like, that's fucked up. I don't know when I started saying fuck, but it was as an adult. Some people aren't going to want to hear this. Some people aren't going to want to hear this. If you bring kids to a wedding, and kids are allowed at the wedding, it's fine, okay? I'm not in a position of power to say you can't do that. Go for it. Or if you're like, please, I have to bring them everywhere. That's kind of how kids work. You can't just like leave them alone. All right, sure. I disagree. I was left alone. I turned out fine. This is me being sarcastic. It was... But for clarification, it was like, I kind of get it. All right. But if a wedding doesn't have children, I'm going to like it more. Am I allowed to say that? This isn't Numemon. Interesting. This is not shade at anyone. This is not me saying that like children shouldn't be allowed places. I think people who say like children shouldn't be allowed in restaurants are psychotic. I think people who say like children shouldn't be allowed places are psychotic, unless it's like something dangerous. But like, I will enjoy an event more if it doesn't have children. I think that's okay to say. I don't want to match their energy. I don't want to have kids. It's just not for me. I'm not going to go post on r/child free, which is also too far. I'm not going to be like, we should get rid of all children. No, I was a child once. All people are child once. I get that. It's fine. I also understand that some people like want to have children for whatever reason, but like, and that's fine. It's allowed, sure. So that was part of it. There were a lot of kids at this wedding. But the ceremony was at 2. It was up on a hill in the woods. It was honestly a very good view, and the sun was shining, and everyone was in dress clothes. Myself included. I was in a long sleeve t-shirt, long pants, and no hat on my head. I don't know if you knew this about me. I'm bald. Hold on. Source. Trust me, bro. I don't know if you can see it. A little bit redder than you might expect. There's a reason for that. But it was the first time since being a person to like shave my head. It was my first time having to not wear a hat in the direct sunlight. I should also mention it was like 90 degrees with no wind. They were kind enough to provide like fans, oh my god, Andromon. That's like not randomized. What the fuck are you doing here, man? Also, Numemon looks like he's not okay. I'll just throw that out there. He looks distressed. But so I was dying. I guess I'll say. I was sitting in the direct sunlight, no cloud coverage, just like sitting there, sweating profusely. I'm deeply uncomfortable. I already don't really like dressing up. And dressing up in 90-degree weather outside for an extended amount of time, I personally feel like is kind of like a war crime. It feels like cruel and unusual punishment. But so I had to sit and watch these people that I didn't know confess their love to each other and have their relatives confess their love to each other, or love for them and everything like that. Which again, that's fine. I knew what I was signing up for. It hits a little different when you're going through more things for people you don't know. Again, this is not a knock on the wedding. This is not a knock on anyone. This is just like, I personally was in a strange situation. But I love my partner, so I was, I was there for her. But like, so I sat through. The ceremony was, I think, about 90 minutes, but we got there. Yeah, it was like 90 minutes because we got there at the start time of 2. They didn't really start things going until like 2:30. Why did you come here? Because my partner wanted me to go. Hey, do you know where Numemon is? Numemon? What do you want with him? It's something I have to ask him. Come on, really? Or come on, tell me. I know where he is, but I can't tell you that easily. Beyond this point, only strong men enter. If you still want to defeat him, then defeat me first. I should have known that was coming. I didn't save. Sneemon. Oh, I did switch to Augmon. Okay. I don't need to be Grismon for this. He's so little. Yeah, there he is. He's so little. Look at him. Numemon isn't like a Digimon I like would aim to get, like in most Digimon games, but I am happy to see him. He's a cool little guy. So I think I even after applying a very generous amount of sunscreen to my head, I do think I managed to get a sunburn on the top of my head and a little bit on my face, which isn't great. I don't love that for me. But I didn't really start feeling it until I first took a shower when I came home, and I like had the hot water on the top of my head, and I was like, ow, 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 wait, ow. I know I'm really gonna feel it later in this week when it starts peeling. It's not a good place to have skin peel, especially because I just like recently shaved, so like my hair is gonna start trying to grow back again. Maybe not in the spot where I got sunburned, thank God. But like I've had that happen before. I've shaved my head really low, like as a kid, and then got a sunburn on my head, and then like it was a whole mess. Oh yeah, I guess it is just one Digimon. For some reason I thought it was gonna be like a trainer battle. So I was like expecting a second Digimon to come out. It was just Sneemon. I respect your great strength. You pass. Numemon is in the sewers beyond the secret stairs. I've unlocked the door to the secret stairs. Go ahead. For that, take this rusty rifle. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I got the rusty rifle. Why did you give a child a rifle? Thanks, Diandramon. The enemy is stronger beyond here. Be careful. I think I'm going to go back and heal. 2 of my Digimon are kind of jacked up. I'm probably going to see him enter. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, maybe that... Oh, man, he's inside there now. Okay, I'm just going to keep on following him. I'm just saying maybe just make that... Like, if the player discovers that entrance, maybe just let them go into it. It doesn't seem that crazy to me. So, we get to the reception. Or, I'm sorry, we go to the ceremony. It is a really nice ceremony. The only thing I'll say is... As someone who doesn't really know these people, I want to be very careful with what I say here. I want to be very, very careful what I say here. Because they were very nice. I am genuinely happy for them, even though like I don't have a personal connection to them. I'm very happy that they were able to, go through this together and like express their love for each other. And, I mean, I personally don't want to get married, and neither does my partner, and I think marriage is a little bit of a scam of like, hey, what if we charged you like $10,000 for a service that we would normally charge like maybe $1,000 for like any other event, just because we know that you like need someone for this event, and like we basically have you by the balls, so we can charge you whatever you want, and like it's your one special day, and we've like for years and years and years people around you have told you it's one special day, and so you have to make it count, you have to make everything go perfectly, and that you have to make sure that everything is like planned meticulously, when in reality it's impossible to plan everything out meticulously, so things will go wrong, and that will directly affect your mood, and then you'll be upset, and then you'll make other people upset around you. And just some small thoughts on marriage. Again, if you want to get married, go for it, but like personally I'm like, I don't know about that, man. It seems like what once was a profession of love in a way to like join families together and have like a big party seems very by the rules and very by the books. Like, which again, I'm like, I don't love that. I don't love like traditional stuff. My worst nerdy trait, my like worst like I don't socialize enough trait is that I'm very logical in most things I do. That's why I keep talking about game design, because I'm like, logically it would make sense to do this, so why did they do this? But I think a lot of weddings are illogical. And I'm not saying it's like, why would anyone do this? And then the answer is going to be like, oh, Nick, it's for love. And I'm like, I understand love. Thank you. Like, that's not what I'm questioning. I'm questioning why it needs to manifest in this way. Why does a photographer cost $15,000 when I feel like if you hired them for a different event, it would cost like a few thousand? I'm not saying don't pay photographers, by the way. I'm not saying don't pay florists. I'm not saying don't pay DJs. Like, I think all of those are important. I just think that if you mention wedding, suddenly the price goes up by like 4 times as much. That's just my personal observation. I mean, I don't know. People who've been married in the comments, you can tell me your experience, but I'm gonna guess you got charged out the ass. Anyway. So, where the fuck was I? Got lost. So after the ceremony was the cocktail hour. And if you've been to enough weddings, what the cocktail hour really is, hey, while the bride and groom are still dressed up in their tux and their wedding dress, we're going to cart them to a bunch of scenic locations and take photos of them. The rest of you, I was going to say mongrels. That's way too mean. The rest of you fucking plebeians, peasants, go amuse yourself by like getting drunk. And then we'll have dinner. And I think that this wedding was no exception. So like when the ceremony ended, they basically got carted all over the lodge and like the area to like take different scenic photos near the lake and near the hill that was on and stuff like that. And I think personally, I'm kind of like like I'm very much of like the, I don't know, like it's I have to be very careful. I'm not saying this specifically about the wedding couple that we went there, because I have nothing against them. From the several weddings I've gone to in my adult life, it does seem like in a moment where you should be celebrating with your family and friends because you just got married, a lot of people immediately get carted around by a photographer to take like these perfect photos so that you can remember your day perfectly. And I'm like, it kind of seems like you're doing the thing that we yell at people for, where you're like taking photos and recording things when you should just be like living in the moment. It gives the same energy as someone recording a concert like as it's happening. And I'm like, what do you, stop recording it and just like have the concert. What are you doing? Like it feels a little bit like that to me. Of like, I get it, like you paid a lot for the photographer, get your money's worth, but I'm also like, you invited like 100 people here. You don't want to maybe spend time with that 100 people? That seems fucking crazy to me. Anyway, so I did not go to cocktail hour. The ceremony was a lot for me. Like, not because it was like what they said. The thing I didn't want to say earlier, but I'm going to say now, a lot of Taylor Swift references. I'm just like, I get it, we're millennials, sure, but like, someone mentioned Harry Potter houses at one point. They mentioned a lot of Taylor Swift. I'm like, all right, I get it. Like, I think the bride was really into Taylor Swift, and I was like, and just internally, and I couldn't say this to my partner, but I was like, oh wow, really into Taylor Swift, huh? That's crazy. I've never really heard anyone like that. That's all I'm gonna say. Very, very true. I have nothing against Taylor Swift. I have nothing against the wedding couple. I have nothing like that. Simply an observation that I think being really into Taylor Swift is a little more common than some people act like it is. Some people embrace it. I think that's fine too. As someone who doesn't listen to really real music at all, let alone T Swift, I don't really have that same attachment. So when you're quoting Taylor Swift lyrics like some people would quote Bible verses, I'm just sort of like, sure. I don't feel positively or negatively about it. I simply have made an observation. That's all. Please don't attack me. I can't handle smoke from T Swift fans. They would eat me alive. I have nothing against her. I'm just saying, I think that you're a very large community. And I think some people act like it's a small community. And that's all I'm going to say, is that, you know, like some people treat it like it's Digimon, where I'm like, it's kind of more like Pokemon. It's just, that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So after the I stepped away for a little bit. I came back after the cocktail hour. We went to the reception. And I think I'll talk more about that next part as well. I didn't mean for this entire video to take place solely in that one area of the Dum Dum Factory, but blame the game design. I don't know what you want me to tell you, but it's not my fault. I didn't fucking have to find Numemon 5 times in this area. Like, that's not on me. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Tune in for the next part where I'll conclude my weekend stories, I hope, because that went longer than I thought it would. But thank you guys so much for watching. Obviously I love Taylor Swift, so if you're going to leave a comment telling me, and obviously I love kids, Taylor Swift, weddings, so you're going to leave a comment being like, Nick, how could you say it was all an act, I was just putting it on for the video. And if you say that, I'm going to timestamp this and just tell you, like, it's all just bits. Don't worry, just like the video, subscribe, comment, bye.